Are you being manipulated to spend? The inconvenient truth of marketing.
You believe your spending habits are a pure reflection of your free will, do you not? Every purchase, every click, every tap of that credit card is a fully conscious decision, born of genuine need and rational thought. What a gloriously naive sentiment. Prepare yourselves, discerning viewers, because today we are tearing down that comforting delusion. We are about to yank back the curtain on the grand illusion, exposing the puppet strings that guide your financial decisions, and confronting the deeply unsettling reality that an entire industry is meticulously, relentlessly, and brilliantly manipulating you to spend. We are talking about far more than just annoying advertisements here. This journey will peel back the layers of modern marketing, revealing the insidious psychological triggers that bypass your logical defenses. The dark arts of crafting desire through scarcity and urgency, and how these expertly deployed tactics funnel you directly into the jaws of financial overconsumption, and yes, often the dreaded debt trap. You will discover that the things you crave, the needs you feel, are often not organic, but rather meticulously engineered by the unseen hands of master persuaders who know your brain better than you know it yourself. So, if you are tired of feeling like a pawn in a colossal, capitalist chess game, if you are ready to reclaim your financial autonomy from the relentless machinery of manufactured desire, then stay tuned. This is not about deprivation. It is about liberation. It is about equipping you with the shield of knowledge to combat these psychological attacks and transforming you from a compliant cash cow into a conscious consumer. Get ready for some inconvenient truths, a dash of sarcasm, and perhaps the first step towards true financial freedom.
The unseen hand. How marketing shapes your spending habits.
This unseen hand is not some shadowy cabal in a smoke-filled room. It is far more pervasive, far more insidious, and frankly, far more brilliant than that. We are talking about marketing, of course, but not the cheerful jingle or the glossy magazine advertisement you consciously dismiss. We are referring to the silent architects of desire, the masterminds of manufactured need, who operate deep within the labyrinth of your subconscious mind. Their goal is elegantly simple: to separate you from your hard-earned cash, often for things you never knew you wanted and quite possibly do not even need. This is a masterclass in covert persuasion, a relentless campaign designed to bypass your logical defenses and appeal directly to your primal urges. Consider the supermarket aisle, a battleground disguised as a brightly lit wonderland. Do you ever wonder why milk, a staple, is almost always at the back? Or why candy and magazines, those delightful impulse purchases, are strategically placed at eye level right before the checkout, when your willpower is typically at its lowest ebb? This is not accidental. This is not arbitrary. This is the unseen hand, carefully guiding your path, subtly influencing your gaze, and ultimately nudging your decisions. Every product placement, every vibrant label, every carefully chosen scent wafting through the air is a precisely calculated maneuver in the grand chess game for your wallet. It is less about providing value and more about provoking a reaction. Then there is the psychological warfare waged through pricing. The venerable $9.99 versus $10. You, a sophisticated individual, are fully aware that 1 cent is inconsequential. Yet, the price ending in 99 inches still registers differently in your brain. It feels cheaper, a fraction away from the lower tier, an illusion of a bargain. This is not a trick. It is an exploit of your cognitive biases. Companies also employ anchor pricing, presenting an outrageously expensive item first, only to make the slightly less outrageously expensive item appear perfectly reasonable by comparison. Suddenly, that $500 toaster looks like a sensible investment because the one next to it was $1,000. Congratulations, you have just been gently herded towards a predetermined choice, believing it was entirely your own. And let us not forget the manufactured urgency, the fear of missing out, or as the marketing gurus prefer to call it, FOMO, limited time offer, only 3 left in stock. Sale ends tonight. These pronouncements ignite a primitive panic, compelling you to act immediately, lest you suffer the unthinkable fate of not owning that perfectly essential, heavily discounted item you did not even know existed 5 minutes prior. Your logical brain screams caution, but your amygdala, sensing potential loss, overrides it with remarkable efficiency. This is not about scarcity. It is about creating an emotional shortcut to your purchasing power. Your calm deliberation is the enemy, and marketing is exceptionally good at ensuring it rarely stands a chance. This is how your spending habits are not merely reflections of your needs, or even your conscious desires, but rather the cumulative result of countless, often invisible, external influences. The unseen hand molds your perceptions, dictates your priorities, and quietly rewrites your definition of what is essential. It is a constant, ambient pressure, shaping the very fabric of your financial reality. Acknowledging this is not to surrender. It is the vital first step towards reclaiming your autonomy. It is realizing that your impulsive urges are often expertly planted suggestions, and that your financial freedom begins the moment you recognize who is truly pulling those strings. Stay tuned, because the rabbit hole goes far deeper than this.
Psychological triggers, decoding the subliminal messages you encounter.
All right, you have just survived the unsettling revelation that an unseen hand is meticulously guiding your spending. Now, prepare to be thoroughly unnerved, because we are about to dive into how that hand actually works its magic. Forget the simplistic notion of overt advertisements. What we are truly decoding here are the psychological triggers. Those insidious little buttons marketers love to push, designed to bypass your rational brain and speak directly to your wallet. You think you are making conscious choices? Bless your naive heart. Marketers are, quite frankly, applied psychologists, and they know your brain better than you know it yourself. Let us be abundantly clear. This is not about hidden messages embedded in ice cubes or fleeting frames in a movie that supposedly compel you to buy popcorn. That is the realm of urban legend and delightful paranoia. The subliminal messages we are discussing are far more sophisticated, far more effective, and operate in plain sight, camouflaged as everyday marketing. These are meticulously crafted appeals to your deepest fears, desires, and irrational tendencies, designed to elicit an emotional response that completely overrides logical thought. They do not whisper. They manipulate your perceptions with a megaphone disguised as a gentle suggestion. Take, for instance, the omnipresent power of emotional appeals. Why do car commercials show families laughing on scenic drives rather than just listing horsepower and fuel efficiency? Why do luxury brands sell an entire lifestyle, a feeling of exclusivity and status, instead of merely the product itself? Because they understand that emotion is the express train to your purchasing decision. Fear of missing out, the desire for belonging, the yearning for status, the pursuit of happiness, these are not just abstract concepts. They are lucrative psychological vulnerabilities. Marketers craft narratives that position their products not as solutions to problems, but as catalysts for achieving those cherished emotional states. By this, and you will not just own a gadget, you will own happiness, success, or eternal youth. It is patently absurd, yet remarkably effective. Your logical brain protests, but it is just a watch. While your emotional brain, already picturing you as a sophisticated titan of industry, screams, "I need it now." Then there's the formidable force of social proof. Over 1 million satisfied customers, rated 5 stars by thousands. Everyone is raving about it. This is marketing code for you are an outlier, possibly a social pariah, if you do not conform. Our tribal instincts are ancient and powerful. We're hardwired to look to others for cues on appropriate behavior. If countless strangers endorse a product, it must be good, right? This bypasses critical evaluation entirely. Your internal monologue shifts from, "Is this product actually useful?" to, "I do not want to be the only one who misses out." Reviews, testimonials, influencer endorsements, these are not just helpful guides. They are psychological bludgeons, expertly wielding the power of consensus to herd you towards a purchase. Your individuality, a trait you likely pride yourself on, is suddenly a liability in the face of collective consumer wisdom. Do not overlook the subtle but potent influence of authority bias. When a product is endorsed by a doctor, even if it is an actor in a white coat, scientist, even if they are merely reading a script, or a celebrity expert whose expertise is often questionable, our brains tend to defer. We assume their position grants them superior knowledge, even if the connection between their authority and the product is tenuous at best. 4 out of 5 dentists recommend this toothpaste. Well, 4 out of 5 dentists also recommend flossing. But where is the million-dollar marketing campaign for that? This is a shortcut to credibility, a quick circuit breaker for your skeptical mind. It tells you, do not bother researching. Experts have already decided for you. And most of us, being inherently lazy, happily oblige. Finally, consider how seemingly innocuous choices are framed to elicit a particular response. Is it 80% fat-free or contains 20% fat? The objective information is identical, yet your perception of the product completely changes. The first sounds healthy, the second, alarming. This is the art of framing, a masterful manipulation of context that guides your interpretation without altering the facts. Or perhaps a company offers a free trial that conveniently requires your credit card information, subtly triggering the principle of reciprocity. You have received something, however ephemeral, and now, subconsciously, you feel a gentle obligation to give something back, perhaps by forgetting to cancel the subscription. It is not exactly a gift. It is a Trojan horse for your future financial commitments. These psychological triggers are not accidents. They're meticulously researched and ruthlessly deployed. They are the unseen forces that transform a casual browse into an impulsive purchase, a fleeting thought into an undeniable need. The true subliminal message is not hidden in a picture. It is the feeling of inadequacy, the desire for acceptance, or the fear of regret that marketers expertly conjure within you. Recognizing these triggers is the first step towards disarming them. Ignoring them means remaining a pliant, predictable target for every clever campaign. The truth, as always, is inconvenient. Your spending habits are not always your own, and they are just getting started.
Crafting desire, the art of scarcity, urgency, and social proof.
You have been introduced to the unseen hand of marketing and had a glimpse into the psychological triggers that pull your purse strings. Now, prepare to witness the grand performance, the intricate ballet of manipulation that transforms a mere product into an object of burning desire. This is where marketers cease to be mere advertisers and ascend to the status of master illusionists, conjuring needs from thin air and whispering sweet nothings into your subconscious until you are convinced that your very existence hinges on acquiring their latest offering. Welcome to Crafting Desire, the dark art where scarcity, urgency, and social proof converge into an irresistible vortex designed to drain your bank account. This is not about selling you what you need. It's about making you believe you cannot live without what they are selling. It is a subtle alchemy, turning logical considerations into emotional imperatives. And at the heart of this alchemical process are 3 potent psychological levers, expertly wielded to bypass your rational defenses and ignite a primal urge to acquire. First, let us dissect scarcity, the venerable marketing tactic that preys on our innate fear of loss and our irrational valuing of the rare. Imagine, for a moment, a shelf overflowing with identical items. Your brain processes this as abundance, and abundance rarely sparks immediate action. Now, picture that same item, but with a gleaming limited edition sticker or an ominous only 3 left tag. Suddenly, your brain shifts gears. This is not just a product. It is a fleeting opportunity. The perceived value skyrockets, not because the item itself has changed, but because the threat of its unavailability looms large. Marketers understand that we humans are remarkably terrible at assessing inherent value. Our minds are far more easily swayed by perceived exclusivity. A product that is difficult to obtain becomes inherently more desirable, a trophy for the discerning, a testament to your swift action. Why? Because nothing screams essential quite like the terrifying prospect of not being able to get it. Your impulse to acquire overrides your capacity for critical thought, all thanks to a cleverly manufactured limitation. You are not buying a product. You are conquering a perceived challenge, snatching victory from the jaws of scarcity. Next up, we have urgency. Scarcity's aggressive, time-constrained sibling. If scarcity is the whispered threat of disappearance, urgency is the blaring siren demanding immediate action. Sale ends tonight. Last chance. Offer expires in 24 hours. These are not polite suggestions. They are psychological cattle prods, designed to short-circuit your decision-making process. Your brain, under normal circumstances, would embark on a sensible journey, evaluate need, compare prices, consider alternatives, perhaps even sleep on it. But urgency weaponizes time, transforming thoughtful deliberation into a panicked sprint. The ticking clock, the countdown timer on a website, the final announcement of a flash sale, these are all carefully constructed mechanisms to induce a state of mild panic. Marketers know that a hurried decision is almost always an emotional one. Your rational thought processes, those inconvenient obstacles to impulsive spending, are simply overridden by the fear of missing out on a deal or an opportunity that may never arise again. You are not buying because you want it. You are buying because you are afraid not to. It is the economic equivalent of being chased by a bear. You just run. You do not stop to question your footwear. And then there is the grand orchestrator, the master manipulator of our social instincts, social proof. This is the art of convincing you that if everyone else is doing it, you should too, and conversely. If everyone else wants it, you absolutely must have it. Best-selling item, loved by millions. Featured on every influencer's feed, these are not just accolades. They're highly effective conformity devices. Our brains are hardwired for tribal behavior. We look to our peers for validation and guidance. If a product boasts thousands of 5-star reviews, even from anonymous internet denizens, your brain tends to automatically assign it a higher value and trustworthiness. The subtle implication is clear. Your judgment is clearly inferior to that of countless strangers on the internet. So why bother exercising it? Celebrity endorsements, influencer marketing, user-generated content, these are all sophisticated ways of saying, join the crowd. You do not want to be the only one left out, do you? This is not about the product's merit. It is about the uncomfortable feeling of being an outsider, the nagging fear that you are missing something everyone else has. The desire to belong, to be perceived as in the know or up to date, becomes a powerful, almost irresistible purchasing driver. When scarcity, urgency, and social proof are deployed in concert, they create a formidable psychological onslaught. You are presented with a product that is limited edition, scarcity, available for only 24 hours, urgency, and raved about by thousands, social proof. Your rational defenses crumble under the combined pressure. Your desire is not organic, is manufactured, carefully cultivated by experts who understand the intricate dance of human psychology. You are not making a choice. You are responding to a finely tuned sequence of triggers designed to elicit an automatic, impulsive purchase. Recognizing these mechanisms is your first, best line of defense against becoming a willing participant in your own financial manipulation. Because in the game of crafting desire, your wallet is always the prize.
The debt trap. How manipulation leads to financial overconsumption.
All right, you are now acutely aware of the unseen hand, the psychological parlor tricks, and the master illusionist's crafting desire from thin air. You understand how marketers weaponize your deepest insecurities and aspirations. Now let us drag this uncomfortable truth to its logical, often soul-crushing conclusion, the debt trap. Because where does all that brilliantly manipulated desire lead? More often than not, straight into the unforgiving jaws of financial overconsumption, leaving a trail of credit card statements and existential dread in its wake. For generations, the narrative has been clear. Work hard, save diligently, live within your means. A charming sentiment, is it not? Utterly delightful, like a vintage advertisement for a simpler time. But in our hyper-consumerist landscape, this quaint wisdom has been meticulously eroded, replaced by a far more insidious mantra, buy now, pay later. And the marketers, those benevolent architects of your perceived happiness, are not merely encouraging this. They are actively designing pathways directly into the financial abyss, all while convincing you it is a scenic route. Think back to the last time you felt that irresistible urge to purchase. Was it that limited edition gadget? It's a flash sale item you absolutely had to have before it vanished forever? No. The aspirational lifestyle subtly showcased by your favorite influencer? Suggesting that their happiness was attainable with this product? Every single one of those carefully deployed psychological triggers is a tiny, expertly placed stepping stone on the path to overconsumption. You are not buying based on genuine need. You are buying to avoid the manufactured pain of missing out, to gain the fleeting high of belonging, or to momentarily fill an emotional void that a new possession promises to assuage. This is the beauty of modern marketing. It does not just sell you a product, it sells you a perceived solution to an emotional problem, feeling inadequate. Buy this brand and suddenly you are successful? Unhappy? This vacation package will instantly fix everything. Lonely? This social media-approved gadget will make you popular. And because these are emotional problems, logic often takes a back seat. Who cares if you cannot truly afford it? The immediate gratification, the temporary dopamine hit of acquisition, is far too compelling. Future you can worry about the bill? Future you, after all, is a problem for another day. Presumably one where you are much happier and wealthier thanks to your astute purchase. Enter the enablers. Credit cards and easily accessible loans. These financial instruments are not merely tools, or the oil in the engine of overconsumption, allowing you to bridge the gap between your manipulated desires and your actual financial capacity. That must-have item suddenly feels affordable when you can pay it off in convenient bite-sized installments. Except, of course, those bite-sized installments come with a ravenous, perpetually hungry beast attached: interest. A beast that grows exponentially, devouring your future earnings and turning what began as a temporary indulgence into a long-term burden. The debt trap is a vicious cycle. You are constantly bombarded with messages that you are not enough, that your life is incomplete without X, Y, or Z. You buy X, Y, or Z, often on credit, to briefly alleviate that manufactured inadequacy. The initial thrill fades, the product loses its luster, and the debt remains. The cycle then repeats because marketers are already cooking up the next essential item, the next trend, the next perceived solution. You find yourself working harder, not to save or invest, but to service the debt incurred from chasing fleeting desires. Your financial freedom shrinks, your options narrow, the feeling of being perpetually behind becomes a constant companion. This is not an accident. It is a design feature. It's a system that thrives on making you feel less than offering you overpriced, temporary fixes, all while profiting handsomely from the interest on your resulting debt. It is a brilliant, albeit morally bankrupt, business model. The companies selling you the dream are rarely the ones collecting the interest, but they are certainly fueling the demand that keeps the entire ecosystem churning. They understand that a financially fragile consumer is a perpetually hungry consumer, always looking for the next purchase to feel whole again. So, the next time you feel that magnetic pull towards a purchase, pause. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is this a genuine need, or is it a brilliantly orchestrated emotional response? Are you truly buying this, or has an unseen hand already made the decision for you? Because the only way out of the debt trap is to recognize the elaborate network of psychological tripwires that lead you there in the first place. Your wallet and your peace of mind depend on it. This is not just about money. It is about reclaiming your autonomy from the relentless machinery of manufactured desire.
Your shield against manipulation. Strategies to spend consciously.
All right, you have endured the uncomfortable truth. You now know about the unseen hand, the psychological triggers, the deliberate crafting of desire, and the chilling reality of the debt trap. It's feeling a bit like a pawn in a colossal capitalist chess game. Good. That is precisely the point. Because while the system is undeniably rigged, understanding the rules is your superpower. This final segment is not about escaping the game entirely, that would be naive, but about equipping you with your shield against manipulation, strategies to spend consciously. It is time to stop being a compliant sheep in the consumer herd and start wielding your financial autonomy like a seasoned warrior. Let us be brutally honest. You cannot avoid marketing. It is as pervasive as oxygen, as insidious as that catchy pop song you secretly hate but cannot stop humming. But you can, with deliberate effort and a healthy dose of cynicism, change your relationship with it. This is not about deprivation. It is about liberation from the relentless cycle of manufactured desire and subsequent buyer's remorse. This is about reclaiming your wallet, and more importantly, your peace of mind from the voracious maw of overconsumption. Your primary weapon? Awareness. You have already taken the crucial first step by listening to this. Now, cultivate it. Every time you encounter an advertisement, an influencer hawking a product, or even a friend's shiny new acquisition, hit the mental pause button. Ask yourself, what psychological trigger is at play here? Is it scarcity, urgency, social proof, emotion, or authority? Like a detective spotting fingerprints, you will begin to identify these tactics in real time. That limited time offer no longer feels like a golden opportunity, but a blatant attempt to bypass your logic. That glowing testimonial from a satisfied customer transforms into a calculated piece of social proof. Once you see the strings, it becomes much harder for the puppet master to make you dance. Next, erect your defenses against the immediate impulse. The 24-hour rule, or 48, or 72, if you are feeling ambitious. This is a simple, yet profoundly effective counter tactic to urgency. That irresistible urge to add to cart right now because the sale ends at midnight. Tell yourself, I will think about it for 24 hours. The vast majority of impulsive purchases lose their luster, their supposed essentiality when subjected to a day of sober reflection. That fleeting dopamine hit gives way to critical thinking. Often, by the next morning, you will realize you did not actually need that artisanal pickle slicer or that cryptocurrency-themed bath bomb. The world will not end if you miss a deal. In fact, your bank account will probably thank you for it. Furthermore, adopt a philosophy of question everything. When you feel that familiar tug of desire, dig deeper. Why do I really want this product? Am I buying it because it solves a genuine problem? Or because it promises a feeling, status, happiness, belonging, that a material object can never truly deliver? Marketers excel at selling solutions to emotional voids. Your job is to recognize those voids and realize that a new pair of sneakers is unlikely to fill them permanently. Is the product genuinely high quality? Or is its value inflated by clever branding and aspirational imagery? Do you need it? Or merely want it because someone else has it? Or because you have been expertly convinced you should? This relentless self-interrogation transforms you from a passive consumer into an active, discerning buyer. Then there is the delightful act of digital decluttering. Your social media feeds, your email inbox, these are not neutral spaces. They're highly optimized marketing battlegrounds. Unfollow, unsubscribe, mute. If an influencer's perfectly curated life consistently makes you feel inadequate or drives you to spend, hit that unfollow button with gusto. If a brand's emails perpetually tempt you with things you do not need, unsubscribe. It is not rude. It is self-preservation. Reduce your exposure to the constant barrage of buy me messages. Create mental and digital spaces where your desires are your own, not echoes of a marketing campaign. Finally, and perhaps most profoundly, cultivate a mindset of valuing experiences over possessions. The transient joy of a new gadget pales in comparison to the lasting memories of a shared experience. A learned skill or a meaningful connection. Marketing sells you things. Life, true richness, is found in moments. Redirect your financial resources from the fleeting satisfaction of acquisition to the enduring fulfillment of experience. Invest in travel, education, hobbies, or simply quality time with loved ones. These are the investments that appreciate over time, not depreciate the moment you unbox them. This is not a quick fix. It is a continuous practice, a daily vigilance against the powerful forces meticulously engineered to extract your wealth. But with each conscious decision, each moment of critical reflection, you chip away at their power. You become more resilient, more autonomous, and ultimately, financially freer. Your shield is your awareness, your sword is your conscious choice, and your armor is a healthy dose of skepticism. Go forth, consumer warrior, and reclaim your financial destiny. The game is still on, but now at least you know how to play.
Reclaim your wallet. Stop being a cash cow.
So there you have it, folks. We have peeled back the layers of polite persuasion, exposed the unseen hands pulling your financial strings, and dissected the psychological voodoo that transforms your hard-earned cash into someone else's profit. You have seen how desire is not merely sparked but meticulously manufactured. How scarcity, urgency, and social proof are wielded like precise surgical instruments to extract your spending. And how this entire elaborate dance often leads directly into the soul-crushing embrace of the debt trap. The truth, as promised, is inconvenient, discomforting, and perhaps a little insulting to your perceived free will. But here's the thing. Ignorance is no longer an excuse. This is not a pity party. It is a call to arms. The power to resist these relentless financial puppeteers does not lie in abstaining from society, but in acknowledging the game and playing it with your eyes wide open. Your shield is your newfound awareness. Your sword is your conscious decision to pause, to question, to critically evaluate every shiny object dangled before you. Cultivate that healthy cynicism. Embrace the 24-hour rule, declutter your digital life, and relentlessly question the why behind every purchase. Choose experiences over possessions, genuine value over manufactured desire, and above all, reclaim your financial autonomy from those who would gladly drain your accounts for a fleeting moment of manufactured happiness. The only way to win this rigged game is to refuse to play by their rules. Stop being the predictable cash cow for corporations and credit companies. Start spending consciously, deliberately, and with an unshakable understanding of the manipulative forces at play. Your financial liberation begins now, armed with this inconvenient truth. If you found this brutal honesty refreshing and a much-needed kick in the financial pants, do not forget to give this video a robust like, share it with anyone else who needs to escape the matrix of consumerism, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss another dose of uncomfortable reality from Finance Unfiltered. Let us know in the comments below what is the most egregious marketing manipulation you have ever fallen for.